Yes. Right. Yep.
Kind of along those lines, there's a new anime coming out in Japan this summer. And I was just curious, if you guys had the opportunity to voice act with a new anime, how would you approach it differently from how you did the original? And would anything change if you could be involved in the new production?
That's a good question, because I feel like for voice, Sailor Mars was my very first. We don't know who's going to get the new series, but I'm going to say hypothetically, if we stepped up to the plate and walked in there, Sailor Mars was my very first cartoon or anime or anything series, voiceover series ever. That I would really have to watch a lot of what I did, because I actually, when I see some stuff, I think, ooh, that's weak. So I think Sailor Mars would always be feisty, and she's a lot like myself anyway, and I think I could bring that. But I actually think it would be a second chance. Like, it would be a second chance to say, no, you don't even know what I can do now. So I think it would still be Ray, and I'd still bring who I am to the part, but I think it would be better.
I would watch the whole series from start to finish, and then instead of them saying, okay, you're at line number 42, go, I'd say, I think I want a script ahead of time. I want to know what's happening so that I'm really ready for it, and then I know what's happening.
Yes, I totally agree about being way more prepared. On the other hand, I think one of the reasons that, and I've always thought this, one of the reasons that it was successful and the voices really worked is because it was done without too much focus on, sometimes, actors, directors, they can sort of work something till it just gets worked right into the ground and all the life gets sucked out of it. This did not happen. It was, sometimes actors are really, really good out of the gate. Some actors are, let me have it, come on, blah, blah, away you go, and first take is always going to be the best one. And other actors get better. So by take 2 and 3 and 4, it's starting to build, it's starting to round itself out, it's starting to really come to life. In this situation, if you weren't terrific by take 1 or 2, it wasn't going to work, because there was no time for you to go up to take 5 and 6 so that your best work could be, actually the take that they used. Are you following me? So what happened was, all the people who were up there were good out of the gate, and there's a certain life that went along with it, and it's maybe called, just sheer terror, because you have no idea what the heck you're doing, but you just do it. And sometimes that gives an extra little spark of reality to the situation, because it's not been rehearsed to death. So sometimes, I've worked on projects that were literally rehearsed into the ground, and you just thought, oh my, you can't possibly keep that wonderful creative juice flowing if you have to rehearse something 27 times in a row. It's not going to work. And a really good director knows that and is going to say, come on, let's do this. Let's just do it. Let's get it done when the actors are all at their peak. So there's something about Sailor Moon, and it would have been good for us to know this, see the scripts beforehand. Trust me, that would have been really nice. But there's a certain life to it and a certain liveliness to it that I like, because it's real. Because we're just up there being actors and just doing it, which is kind of fun sometimes.
I would have liked to know that Darian was also Tuxedo Mask.
You didn't know that?
Well, he was so well disguised. Where did Darian go? He was just here. Just kidding. I knew it was him by episode 3.
Since you guys were a part of Sailor Moon, did you ever watch the musicals or the live action series soon after? Because I've been to a couple of panels this weekend, and we've talked about the Sailor Moon musicals and also the Sailor Moon manga and also the Sailor Moon live action. What do you guys think about those?
Susan and I were in Vancouver. Excuse me, this is really awesome. It's clearing my throat. We were in Vancouver a couple years ago, and it was our very first real, I don't know, this is me talking the next day when I can't actually think. But we saw the musical, and we saw some live action, and we were just kind of stunned by all of this. This was our very first introduction to how huge Sailor Moon was. And yeah, it was it seemed a lot like Power Rangers a little bit, the live action, the special effects. There was a little something going on. And then we saw the musical and we were like, oh my God, because back then when I was 20, I would have loved to have been in a musical playing my character. Like it was surreal, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, we have seen it over time. We've seen a lot more of what's happening in the manga and everything else. Manga. I know here it's manga, right? You guys are saying manga, but sometimes we've heard manga, right?
It's
Yeah.
both ways.
Manga's the correct pronunciation, but over here, manga's accepted.
Right.
Because we have
So as long as they know what
accents.
you're talking about.
Right.
Accents cannot say manga.
Yeah.
I know that at my high school, people say, whenever I wear stuff that says anime on it, they say anime. And it's breaking the annoying.
What did they say? Sorry.
What did they say?
Anime instead of anime.
Oh, anime. Yeah.
Seriously. That's why I don't wear those toys when I'm annoyed.
That's right.
A question I need to ask you guys yesterday, because I kind of got distracted with plushies. Because with the new series coming in and with technology, because I do talk to a lot of other voice actors on Facebook, Twitter, etc. A lot of people, even when they're at conventions in Australia and stuff like that, they'll Dropbox or Skype from their MacBook their lines for whatever show is being recorded in Texas. But the technology today, and I don't know what your guys, your union laws are, would you be able to send stuff, do something like that, if somebody in California got it, or if somebody in Texas got it, would you be able to go into a studio and then Dropbox or Skype lines, because you know obviously you want to be in your studio?
There's just one thing about that, because I'm assuming they're going to be using the original animation, am I right?
They're doing it by the manga, so I think
It's going to be new animation.
yeah, because they're going by the manga storyline.
Yeah, more of
It's a complete reboot.
Yeah.
But the point is, you can't do dubbing unless you are actually in the studio, right? I mean, that would be really difficult because you're trying to match lip movements, and you really have to see the product to be able to match the lip movements as best you can. And I don't think you can do that from city to city.
I wanted to put it up in the video too, because I know people have been sending files, like I've seen Cam Glass in London send files like no office. So I mean, I've never asked them how they did it. I just see it like on Twitter and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, with original animation, so for Totally Spies, I was in Toronto and the other two actors were in Los Angeles. So we did, it's called an ISDN line. So we were all doing it at the same time. But yeah, I think dubbing, you have to be there. I don't know how else you would do it. I mean, it's very possible for anything else if you're doing it as an original. But yeah, no, I don't know. I haven't done any dubbing unless it's right then and there. But I'm sure, I mean, with technology, I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's going to happen.
That means they could send you to the tree.
Yeah, blast, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.